Welcome to the Movie Pick, where my dad and his co-host do a deep dive on their favorite movies and all the things they love about them. Hope you enjoy this week's Movie Pick, recorded in Just Studios, and give us a rating, but only if it's a good one.
If at first you don't succeed, lower your standards is the tagline of probably the best comedy that we've covered.
My all-time favorite,
Yeah.
in case you're curious.
Yeah. So welcome into the movie pick. Before we get really rolling, uh, we're definitely not going to have like a rated R episode, but this one does go, I guess, a little bit more than what the usual episodes go. So if you have your kids listed, this one will still be appropriate, but it may be a little bit more of a warning than most of them. But
Still a movie that can be edited, though.
yeah, yeah. And yes, so we watched this one on VidAngel. And just a quick promo at the top, movie pick 1215 gets you 30 days free. Should have done more of the red leather, yellow leather before we started. But 30 days free, movie pick 1215 on VidAngel. And I'm going to go ahead and straight up apologize to any fans of this movie that are listening, because we will miss somebody's favorite joke. And we will
There's too
miss that. So I wrote this movie has like 20 jokes per minute. Like
What year did this movie come out?
95.
Okay. So I was really young. I was, like when I started watching this probably when I was around 10-ish or so. Um, as we watched this last night again, I realized how much of my humor comes from this movie.
Yeah. 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 So that's what I'm saying. Like, someone will listen to this and they'll think they didn't even talk about this one line. If we talked about
How
every
dare
single line
you?
in this movie, we would be sitting here for 3 hours, because the movie has that many great quotes. And that's, when Barry and I covered Major Payne, that movie lives off of quotes and just little one liners. And this movie, the same way. Maybe a little more universally, where I think more people are aware of this movie than Major Payne.
And it lived off Chris Farley's physical humor.
Yes, yes. So we touched on it a tad bit. First off, welcome in, Tia.
Thank you.
So this is your favorite movie. What are your first memories of Tommy Boy?
I remember I watched it on VHS at my home. I would watch it like weekly. This was a weekly rotation. And I remember the moment that Chris Farley passed away. My dad had grilled hamburgers. We were eating in the living room, and the news was just on. And the news announces that Chris Farley has passed away. I am mid bite of a burger, and I just look at my mom, and she's looking at me, and I start sobbing.
Sure. Sure. Well, it was incredibly sad. I mean, it was like right around 2 years after this came out that he passed away. And, Barry and I again talked about Michael J. Fox and kind of a career cut short by his, Parkinson's disease.
Mhm.
And obviously the same way here with Farley, like career cut way short. More
And-
importantly, a life cut way short.
And maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but I feel like Chris Farley and Princess Diana died around the same time.
You could be right.
I feel like those like kind of conjoined together.
You can
a
fact
little
check us. We're going to be sitting here for a few minutes. You can fact check us. So this came out March 31st, 95. It was number 52 for 1995 at the box office. Had a $20 million budget, made about $32 million, but did over $100 million in VHS.
Yeah, that's where it made it was VHS.
It was a huge hit after its theatrical run. So one thing I did was I listed out not the 95 top movies, but the comedies that finished ahead of it. And just to kind of put it in perspective. So number one that year, as far as comedies goes, was Ace Ventura 2.
We're talking like in box office.
Yes,
like
at the box
theater.
office. Yes.
Okay.
And just how much it lived on more than a lot of these movies. Ace Ventura lives on.
Ugh.
While You Were Sleeping, Get Shorty, Dumb and Dumber, 9 Months, Clueless, the Brady Bunch movie, which we need to read. Oh, that's so funny. Father of the Bride 2,
Good
Man of the House, with your guy
With Chevy Chase and my boy JTT.
to Wong Fu,
To Wong Fu.
That's what I said. To Wong Fu.
Yeah, it's like To Wong Fu.
That's what I'm saying.
You're saying it like To Wong.
No, I'm not. Okay, I'll try to Wong Fu.
With Patrick
Thanks for
Swayze.
everything, Julie Newmar, or something like that was the full name of it. Yeah, Swayze and
He
Snipes.
beat Tommy Boy.
That movie beat Tommy Boy. And a movie called Forget Paris, which was like Billy Crystal and Deborah Winger. So my point is, the theatrical run missed the mark somehow.
Yes.
Because this movie should have finished higher than what it finished. Now, it ended up as a cult classic and a movie that's like an all-timer.
Yeah.
So it ended up where it was supposed to be. But if we could redo that movie run, I think as moviegoers, we should give our money to Tommy Boy a little more than we gave it to those.
Yes.
That's where I'm
I
going.
will say there's a few I felt, this feels like I'm being a traitor, but like Dumb and Dumber obviously deserves that over Tommy Boy.
I don't know. I don't know if it's
I'll
obvious.
agree with that.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think that. But like as far as money going, But so Roger Ebert disliked this movie so much that it hit his most hated list.
Oh.
And one critic called it a dopey cousin of a Jim Carrey movie. Like that's what they said about this movie. And the critics, so the Rotten Tomatoes score was a 40% tomato meter, which is like the critics score of it on Rotten Tomatoes. But it got a 90% on the popcorn meter, which means when people actually went and watched the movie, they loved the movie. It's got a 7.1 IMDb. So again, as far as people that actually watched the movie that were not paid critics, loved the movie.
And I will say, like, I saw this movie well before I saw Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah.
And you love Planes, Trains, and Automobile.
Yeah.
And is it Bill? Like plural automobiles?
Yeah.
Okay. When I first watched Planes and Trains, I did not like it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, it's Tommy Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the same thing. And maybe, it does. They do have a lot of the same humor and the same jokes. Like they copy a lot of the things. But my heart will always be with Tommy Boy. So I was like, absolutely not. Tommy Boy's better. Now, Planes and Trains has grown on me. But Tommy Boy's still better.
Yeah. No. I mean, my only qualm would be if somebody says they love Tommy Boy, but they don't like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, I'd be like, well, kind of have to. Like they're the same movie. And they're both great. Like I love both of them. And so when they were doing the 10th anniversary, Peter Segal, the director of this, asked Paramount why they were making such a big deal out of the movie, like in 2005. And they let him know it was in their top 10 movie sales, not just for 1 year, but since its release.
Wow.
So since it had come out in 95, it was in their top 10 yearly sales. Because that's when the Holy Schnikes edition came out, which I actually had.
Shocking.
So movie names considered for this movie. Did you see this, Annie?
No.
Billy the Third, a Midwestern. Like, because at first his name was supposed to be Billy instead of Tommy.
Oh, okay.
One of the main reasons they changed that was because Billy Madison was being made at the same time. Fat Chance was another possible name title.
Don't like it.
Rocky Road and XL. And
no, I don't like any of those.
I didn't like any of those. And they came up with the name actually after seeing the movie because he kept saying Tommy Boy.
Yeah, they say it like 2 or 3 times. Well, his dad said it numerous times, but other people called him Tommy Boy at least 2 times.
So that's when they went with it. But speaking of the director, a guy named Peter Segal also directed one of your favorites, Naked Gun 33 1/3.
Ugh.
He did My Fellow Americans, Nutty Professor 2. But he did hit a stride here. Anger Management, 50 First Dates.
Love it.
Longest Yard, and Get Smart. So he directed all those movies. So he's done a ton of good comedies.
He must be really good friends with Lorne Michaels.
I would say so.
Because I know Lorne Michaels produced this.
Yes. The SNL creators who you're referencing. Yeah. And actually the guy that Dr. Evil's based off of.
Is it really?
Yeah, it was Lorne Michaels. That was actually part of the Dana Carvey and Mike Myers falling out. I think Dana Carvey helped create Dr. Evil a lot more than Mike Myers did. And then Mike kind of took it and ran with it. Yeah. That's for another episode. But Bonnie and Terry Turner were the writers on this. And so, or part of the writing team on this. There's another guy, we'll mention him later. But they did Wayne's World 1 and 2. They did writing on SNL. They did Coneheads, which also had Dan Aykroyd, David Spade, and Chris Farley in it. They did the Brady Bunch movie, which Spade had a cameo in. And they created the shows Third Rock from the Sun and That 70s Show. So the people that wrote this movie helped create that 70s show. Yeah. Yeah.
So another interesting thing though about the writing of this movie, like they usually before they will start filming, they have to have 100 pages of the script done before they can
they only had
start.
like 60,
They
didn't
only
they?
had 60. And Chris Farley, David Spade were still filming SNL, and they would have to be in New York 3 days out of the week. So the rest of the week, they would fly back to Toronto where this movie was filmed, and they would like do Tommy Boy during that time and then come back to New York for those 3 days to do SNL. So they were exhausted. But during the days that they were in New York, that's where the writers would work on the rest of the script because so much of it wasn't already written that they were like, oh, we got to hurry up and do this before they get back at the end of the week so that we can film some more. And that's why so much of this movie and this script is ad-libbed.
Well, you can't tell though.
No. And they knew what they were working with.
The only time that throws me off in the movie is when they're driving off and it's playing the Eras 2 song.
Oh, yeah.
I always feel like the movie's over. Like the way that they drive off and the way they do the sunset, like I'm always like, oh, well, that was a good movie. And then I'll think, wait, no, there's still more. But so Chris Farley, I will let you, let me mention some of the movies he had done at this point. Obviously SNL. He had a cameo in both the Wayne's Worlds. Like we said, Coneheads, Airheads, which is a forgotten about movie.
He even has like a cameo in Billy Madison.
He does. He does. He has a great part in Billy Madison. Because he was the bus driver.
Yes.
And then, after this, he goes on to like Black Sheep, Beverly Hills Ninja.
He hits his stride.
I never saw Almost Heroes. Never saw that one with Matthew Perry.
Yeah, that was his last.
Yeah. And then he had a cameo in Dirty Work. And most people know this, that he was about to be Shrek.
Yes.
That he had
and you talked about that in the Shrek episode. And I think he could have done it and done it well. Because I've actually heard it would have been different, but it would still been good.
Yes. Yeah. I think we would have still ended up with a really successful franchise had he been Shrek.
Yes.
It would have just been totally different.
Yes.
But I think you had some things on Chris Farley other than that.
So I read the book that just recently came out in the last 10 years, written by his brother. And so.
Which brother do you remember? Because both of them are in this movie, and I did not know that.
One of them only acted a little bit, but one of them actually went and tried to do more.
Yeah.
That's the one that actually wrote this book. And it was so cool because he did interviews with David Spade, Lorne Michaels, other people from when he went to all the comedy shows in Chicago. He talked to a lot of people and had interviews from all of them. So that was what was really cool. But so he was always the fat kid. Sure. And he was always funny. He really did play football in high school. He really did play rugby in college.
I mean, he's sneaky, very athletic.
Even though he's such a big dude, he's very strong.
Like when he did the cartwheels and like he did the falls, like they didn't want him to actually do that fall on the table at the party.
He was known for that though.
Yes. And he was good at it.
Stuff.
And that takes like a physical skill to be able to do that and just get right back up.
Yeah.
Whether it's toughness or like angling your body. Like if I did that one time, I'm down.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're headed to the hospital right afterwards. But go ahead.
Well, so he's in college and stuff, and I can't remember if he actually did graduate or not, but his dad was not gung-ho about him doing comedy.
Sure.
Like, this is a waste of your time. His dad was an alcoholic with him growing up and stuff, so Chris Farley got into alcohol at a pretty young age, and then that developed into more in high school, and then by college it was escalated. He would go on binges even when he was like with the Chicago comedy stuff. Like he would go on binges and then come back. He, even after he got on SNL and stuff and his drug use got pretty heavy, Lorne Michaels actually suspended him a few times from Saturday Night Live because it just got so bad at points. And he at one point, like, because he was doing so well, like Lorne Michaels would hire somebody to be like, it's not like his watcher, but like, just go with him and make sure that this, doesn't progress into worse kind of situation.
No.
And everybody loved working with him. David Spade and him obviously worked with each other a lot. Adam Sandler loved him. David Spade and him, they did fight a few times. Like one physical altercation on this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, go ahead and talk about that. Yeah, I read about this.
They were using fake wood when he slaps him across the face. And they run out and he picks up a real piece of wood and hits him in the face. And Chris Farley was so mad. They got into a fight then, like a verbal argument then. And then the next day, like David Spade is sitting there on the curb eating a tuna salad, and Chris Farley comes up and stomps on his hand and the tuna fish sandwich, and they get into a fight.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
and I think that Rob Lowe was also a part of that.
yes,
Because
he would get jealous of them hanging out without him. Like David Spade would say, "Well, Chris is busy," and him and Rob would go out to dinner, and Chris Farley would get jealous. He he definitely had FOMO, fear
Chris
of
Farley.
missing out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he always wanted to go party and stuff, and he knew that he had to be funny. He felt that people would not like him if he was not funny.
Sure, I understand that.
Devout Catholic.
Yeah.
He thought, if I just go to church and I ask for forgiveness for this, like to my priest, I can still do all these things that I'm doing.
Right. And one thing I read was he was completely sober for this movie.
Yes. So he would have certain movies. Most of the time when he's doing movies, he is sober.
Yeah.
He has a watcher.
Right.
But he would be sober for the movies, and then he would binge. He hated being alone, hated it more than anything, to the point that when he passed away, he had done lots of drugs, and he had a lady of the night with him. And that was who was with him when he passed. And when he was dying, his last words were, "Please don't leave me."
Mm-hmm.
And she stole his wallet and took a picture of him, like while he's overdosing.
Yeah.
And you can actually find that picture on the internet. I saw it many years ago.
All right, let's move past all that. Oh,
So
man.
he was really sad. And like, his dad would never admit that he had a problem with drinking. So of course, Chris Farley for a long time would not admit that he had a problem. I think in 1 year, he went to 17 rehab programs.
Wow.
In 1 year.
Yeah. So there were some other parts that were written for him.
Yes.
Like he was supposed to be the cable guy. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes.
But scheduling got in.
Maybe I would have liked it better then.
Oh, I still love the cable guy. That is a sneaky great 90s comedy. And there was talks of I'd never heard this until this week. Talks of a third Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, he was supposed to be in it.
With him in one of the lead roles, and there's going to be a trio instead of like 4 guys.
And I think that has to do with Dan Akroyd, because Dan Akroyd was one of the people who pushed him to sobriety. He was, he worked really hard for him to be sober. So did what's the guy that was married to Roseanne?
Oh, John Goodman?
No, in real life, not on.
That's John Goodman.
John Goodman was married to her on the show.
Oh, Tom Arnold.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Tom Arnold was like his sponsor for a while.
Well, Roseanne was supposed to be the waitress in this movie. Helen.
She would have made a more memorable one. That's for sure. She would have tried to steal the show.
She would have stole the scene, but she was supposed to play Helen, the one that he asks for the wings. But he was also supposed to have a part in the Disney movie Dinosaurs, the one that came out in like 2000. But that was rewritten after he passed away. Like they changed the part, and I think it ended up being like a female's part instead. I think though, after watching this, like and paying attention to especially specific scenes, I think he would have had some like serious acting in his future. Like
he wanted to.
Yeah, you could tell.
He wanted to delve further into stuff, but also with the whole "I have to be funny or nobody's gonna like me." That was what was wrong with his weight too. He would go to Overeaters Anonymous, and because he didn't want to be a fat person, but he felt like being fat was funny, and he wouldn't get hired if he wasn't fat. So he was really in this in between. And even when he was filming Almost Heroes, he was at his largest at well over 300 pounds.
Yeah. Well, you could. I mean, just
that's also what contributed to his death, is not just the drug overdose, but his health. Like it was just so bad, like his blood pressure and everything.
Well, just in the trailers for that Almost Famous, like he looked unhealthy. Like
Almost Heroes.
Almost Heroes, yeah. Yeah, that's right. So David Spade.
Good guy.
The jelly to his peanut butter.
Not really bald.
Which I thought for years that he actually was, because it looked so realistic when
he's not got luscious locks or anything, but he sure does try. You think that's why he grows his hair out, is he's trying to overcompensate?
I don't know, maybe. But the first thing I had seen him in was he was in the Police Academy 4 from like 87. And then obviously SNL, we mentioned Coneheads.
Yeah, I remember when Coneheads.
Yeah. And then they followed it up with Black Sheep, which was funny. It wasn't as good as Tommy Boy, but it was good. And then he did Lost and Found, Joe Dirt, and then a ton of cameos in the 90s.
Yeah.
The part of Richard was originally offered to Adam Sandler.
That wouldn't have worked.
So glad that for whatever reason.
Although he's funny, he likes to do that character type stuff, and this wasn't that.
Yeah.
Richard has dry humor.
Yeah. Yeah. Richard was, or Spade was great at being Richard. Like, it felt like that's who he is.
As a real person?
Yes. Like, it just felt like that's who he is. Like, he's sarcastic. Well, because he did the Weekend Update stuff, or like, not the Weekend Update, he had like this Hollywood Minute or something like that. And it was so funny, and he was good at it because it was deadpan. Like, I remember one of the funniest, he was making fun of a Steve Martin movie that came out, Leap of Faith, that didn't do well. And then Steve Martin like walks up right behind him, like while he's putting the movie down. But it was great. So this movie, like we mentioned, we definitely vid-angeled this one.
Yes.
And again, if you use the promo code MoviePick1215, you get 30 days free. And it lets you, like, what I like it is it like umbrellas all of your apps where you have Netflix, Prime, all the other stuff. Right.
We were able to do this through Prime, right?
Yes. So what to you works about the movie Tommy Boy? Like, why does it live on 31 years later?
Well, it's definitely the quotes.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But Chris Farley and David Spade work so well with each other. Like, one's the serious, one's the one that's always in trouble, and Richard has to try to fix all of it.
Yeah.
But Tommy is the kind-hearted one.
Yeah.
Hey, can we go back to the cast for a second, though?
Sure.
Rob Lowe.
Oh, we're going to get to him later.
Not credited in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah,
as much as he did his own stunts and everything was not credited.
So he wanted his part to be a surprise. Did you read that?
No.
So he wanted his part to be a surprise. So when, as an audience, you're watching it, because he was like an 80s heartthrob.
Heartthrob.
Yes. And
St. Elmo's Fire.
Yes. And he had played kind of the bad guy in Wayne's World. So he'd already had, some what was like experience with this type of role and with this type of movie.
Which is hilarious to me that like he's the bad guy in all these movies, and in the 80s, like the bad boy or the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then if you don't watch 80s and early 90s movies, you know him as Chris Traeger from Parks and Rec, the ultimate nice guy.
Yeah.
Literally the nicest guy.
Yes. No, he's definitely got some range. I mean, he's shown that. And he almost got stuck. Like if you look at the late 90s, early 2000s, like there wasn't a whole lot going on there. And then he really hit stride again. Like Parks and Rec was almost like a second coming for him. Whereas like, hey.
You know why? Because he aged so beautifully.
Yeah. He's
still gorgeous.
Yeah.
And so that worked out in his favor.
It did. It really did.
Where you see some of these people age and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll go there now. But the supporting cast is one of the things I had listed as reasons why this movie works. One that threw me off. Okay, Bo Derek as Beverly.
I think she's a little bit before my time, so I don't.
Same here.
Was she like a Sports Illustrated model or something? Because I feel like it wasn't for acting that she was famous.
No, okay. So to your point, she only had 13 lines in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back and pay attention, she only has 13 lines. She was nominated for a Razzie, which if you don't know what a Razzie is, that's like worst actor awards and those kind of things for this movie. Like she was bad. Like the line reading was not great. She was known obviously for being attractive. And
was she a model?
I don't know if she was a model. She was in a movie called 10 with Dudley Moore, and also had Brian Dennehy, the guy that played Big Tom in this movie. But I think that was like her breakout role, was the movie 10.
Okay.
And she probably was a model. Like she's built like a model, like the tall and thin. Like that's what she's built like. And funny thing about this movie though, her husband had had her cut her hair short because he's such a jealous freak.
Oh my goodness.
And so for whatever reason, he wanted her hair to be short. So
did he feel like that would make her less attractive? She literally has a scene where she's coming out of the pool. Like, what did he expect?
I have no idea. I just thought that was I read that and I thought that was interesting. How old would you have guessed she's in this movie?
Well, they're making her look older because she's supposed to be Rob Lowe's mother, quote unquote. I would say that she's probably supposed to be in her early 50s.
She's like 38, 39 years old.
Oh.
In real life, in this movie.
Okay.
That threw me off.
Yeah.
because she was born in 56. This movie came out in 95. So this movie came out before she turned 40, which means she was filming it when she was like 38 or 39. I always thought she was like in her early 50s, late
And she's
40s.
obviously supposed to be older than Tommy.
Yeah. Yes. It threw me off.
Because if Tommy's in college for 7 years, that would make him what, 24?
Yeah, 24, 25. And we're also assuming that he graduated high school at 18.
That's me being optimistic.
Yeah. Yeah. Others on the supporting cast. Oh, so the Rob Lowe part was actually also Matthew McConaughey auditioned for that part. And the character of Paul was supposed to be one of the main characters in the movie. Like, it was supposed to be more about Tommy and Paul about the brothers rather than Tommy and Richard, but they changed it. And his character was based off of Wile E. Coyote. And when you,
Is he always after him and never succeeds?
yes, and when you watch it with that lens, like, you can't unsee it because like his shirt getting sucked up into the tube,
the
dog get like everything, and then
electrocuted.
yes, like all the stuff. And let's see, Dan Aykroyd, our guy, is Ray Zielinski, like
with that beautiful hair.
I know. I mean, 80s king of comedy. SNL royalty at this point. But he was in a different spot here. Like in the 90s, he was in a different spot. He wasn't like the leading guy in a lot of movies anymore. And he had kind of become the supporting guy. And then we've got Julie Warner as Michelle. And I just
don't know that I know her from anything else.
I only knew her from this and Doc Hollywood, which is a Michael J. Fox movie.
Yeah.
I knew her from those two, and that was it. Brian Dennehy, I always knew him as the guy from Rambo, like First Blood, the first one. He passed away about 5 or 6 years ago, and that kind of covers the main part of the cast. But they were all great in their parts. And I mentioned this guy, or I kind of alluded to this guy earlier. One of the writers' names was Fred Wolf. He was uncredited on this movie. This was the first movie that he helped write on. And he also did Black Sheep, Dirty Work, Joe Dirt, and Without a Paddle. Like some of the great comedies from that time frame. Another thing that I loved about this movie, the soundtrack.
Yeah.
So I had the soundtrack when I was a kid.
You had every soundtrack. For those that don't know, when I first started dating Dave, he had these 2 giant CD case holders. And I'm talking like those giant books that held like 100 CDs. And at first it was cute, and then it wasn't when you're driving down the road. And he's like, hey, get that CD case out of the back, and around midway through, you're going to find this CD. And you have to like change out all the CDs for him. Not fun.
I was proud of that collection.
Yeah, you were. It was a really hard move for you when you got rid of your CD collection and went to the iPod.
I don't know why I did. I wish I would have kept. I wish I would have kept the CDs. I regret that move. Regretful things happened that day. But even so, the dialogue was so great in this movie that the soundtrack had dialogue in the soundtrack. Like it would play Richard and Tommy talking to each other and then play a song, and then another thing of Richard and Tommy talking to each other and then play a song. But like the Carpenter song scene when they're crying.
Oh yeah,
like I love that scene. And the songs that play, like Into the World, Come On Eileen, all those songs, love them. Now, this movie also had like all the elements that I love in a movie.
What, a crossover?
Road trip. I do love a crossover, but this didn't have that.
Yes, it did.
What was the crossover?
And 51st Dates. When
Drew Barry... hold that.
Okay.
That comes up later.
Okay. Yep. That is a crossover.
Yeah, it is. It's technically a crossover, but it wasn't in this movie. We'll get to that, though. We'll get to that. But this has all the elements. The buddy comedy. Like, I love that. The reluctant friend, like the 2 guys that don't want to be friends. It had the road trip, which I love a good road trip movie. I love going on a road trip.
You say that, but we just went on one that you complained about driving.
I didn't complain. And then it was a sales movie. Like, I love all those things because that hits my career.
Yes.
So, love all those things. I don't know if you read this, the fat guy in a little coat.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely ad-lib because it was something that he always did to David Spade in general.
Exactly. And
which I pointed out to Jared last night while we were watching it, that when they're in the diner, when they meet Helen, the waitress, and they start some of the scenes where they cut to Chris Farley or Tommy Boy and David, all you see is David Spade's back. If you look, you can still see the cut in his jacket that he's still wearing. He's having to wear his jacket with a rip in it.
That's great though, because that's great writing. Like, stick with it, because if not, you become this slapstick movie that can't be taken seriously. Like if his blazer is all of a sudden fine,
Yeah.
like I love the fact that it was still.
And the car gets worse and progressively worse
Yes.
as you go.
Yes, and I love all the quick lines in this movie. Like some of the back and forths. Like Beaver and I talked about this with the Groundhog Day. Like it wasn't like this one right here I'm about to list out is not like the one quote is great, but when Big Tom and Tommy are talking to Richard, how do we look? And he's just like, chubby, you know, like you can't say just the word and it's funny, but if you put it together, or like
Does this make me look fat? No, your face does.
Exactly. Like the back and forth in that. I love when Tom says, I've asked Beverly to be my wife, and he's like, oh, great. What'd she say? Like, why would he be telling you if she didn't say yes?
But I also love that, like, they don't let Tommy Boy come up with the quick whips, because every time, like, that Richard says something, he's like,
your brain has a shell on it.
Shell on it.
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah.
Shut up, Richard.
Yeah. No, it was great. And I think my new favorite line from this movie that I just discovered this week watching it was when I can't remember the guy's name, is one of the guys that worked with Big Tom.
Mr. Eisenhower or something. Yeah.
He's like, how are you doing? He said, real good. I had a kidney removed last April, but I still have the other one. And it's like, but we all know that person.
Oh, yeah. That wants to talk about that stuff.
That's the answer they would give you. I love the fact this is a great, simple plot. Like, that's all you need for comedies.
Save the company.
Yeah. That's all you need for comedies, is give a simple plot, let funny people be funny people. And that's what they did with this movie. Like they said, here's this plot. All we need to do is put Farley and Spade together on screen, and this movie will be good.
So what I was telling you about the writing, about how a lot of this was written on the fly, like when Chris Farley and David Spade are out of town and they're like, hurry up, come up with a script for the next few days for when they get here, that we make the most of their time. A lot of it was ad-libbed, but also a lot of it was pulled from their own experiences of stuff.
Yeah.
The writers themselves, they were like, hey, I heard this happen to a guy. Let's write it in.
Which is always the funniest things. Like, the truth can be the funniest things, because it's like, hey, I know somebody that this happened to. Now, you were saying something about the 51st Dates reference, and I'm ready to get there now.
Okay, so a crossover.
Yes.
Obviously, I think this has to do, I don't know this for sure, but I think this has to do with Adam Sandler and his love for Chris Farley. In 51st Dates, when they go to the brain injury institution, it is the Callahan Center.
Yeah, and it's funded by T.B. Callahan.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And it isn't that Zelensky becomes a doctor, but Zelensky is that's Dan Akroyd. Dan Akroyd is the doctor in this.
Yes.
Not Zelensky himself, but Dan Akroyd is the doctor in it.
So there's a popular fan theory, which is why I wanted to let you go first.
Okay. I'm ready.
This is just one of those fun.
I like it when you surprise me.
Yes. So remember the movie The Great Outdoors?
Yes.
Dan Akroyd.
Yes.
Plays a guy named Roman Craig.
Okay.
So the theory is, after his business fails and his wife leaves him, Roman leaves town, changes his name, and reinvents himself as Ray Zelensky. And shows up here in Tommy, which he kind of plays the same type of guy in, if you go and watch The Great Outdoors and then you watch Tommy Boy.
Just redid his hair. He still wears
the hair's kind of the same too.
The ring.
Yeah. And then after Tommy Boy, Zelensky loses his company, tries to, in a divorce is the theory, and goes to his old rival Tommy Callahan for help, who helps fund Ray, or Roman, medical school. So he changes his name again to Dr. Keats, moves to Hawaii, running the Callahan Institute. So if you want to watch that movie, all three of those movies, thinking that's the same character, you can.
What a journey that would be between the three.
Yes. So before we get to the competitions, I was looking at some things here. And before we get to the favorite scenes, I asked Jared, our son, and I asked Evie, our daughter, what are your favorite scenes from this movie?
And last night was the first time that Evie has seen it. And let me just say, my mother's heart. I mean, I don't know how it could top like her wanting to be Cher and Clueless for Halloween,
Sure.
or asking me to be her Lorelai when she was Rory for Halloween.
Sure.
But then when she watches Tommy Boy and says it's now one of my favorite comedies,
Yeah.
I don't think she could make me any prouder in life
Sure.
than now.
Sure. Well, they both had the same scene as their favorite scene, though, which was the housekeeping scene,
Yes.
which is when he knocks on the door and Farley comes to the door in just the undies.
Which also wasn't supposed to happen.
Right.
Good old Chris Farley was not supposed to drop anything. But he loved to try to break David's Spade.
Sure.
He would love it if he could make him break character and stuff.
Well, did you read how they came up with that scene?
No.
Spade would do that to Farley.
Oh, all the time?
Like, Spade would do that to Farley, like, while they were filming and everything, like, just to mess with him. Like, he would do the whole, like, knocking on his door and acting like, whatever, and saying whatever. And then Farley would come to the door and he would trick him. And they actually filmed this a couple of times. And one time, Farley showed up with no underwear on.
That sounds accurate.
And they obviously could not keep that one in the take, but they did that just to mess with Spade. He showed up one time with just a t-shirt, nothing else.
No bottoms.
Yeah, no bottoms. No bottoms.
What a Pooh Bear.
Yes. All right. So anything before we get to the competitions, anything that you feel like we need to cover?
No.
Okay.
As long as you're covering favorite scene.
Oh yeah, we've got, I mean, this movie's so hard. I mean, you have to break it down. And so I have best Big Tom sales line, because he had some good ones. So this is Big Tom Callahan. Why say no when it feels so good to say yes? I could take a look at a T-bone steak by sticking my head up a bull's butt.
But I'd rather take the butcher's word for it.
I could guarantee you all day long, but a guarantee is only as good as the man who writes it. All good lines.
Just curious. Besides that middle one, I know you haven't. Have you used those other two?
I've said
Especially that first one.
I've said the why say no when it feels so good to say yes. Yeah. Maybe not in those exact words, but I've literally used that in appointments. Yes. Like, why say no when it feels good to say yes? Yeah, I've used that one. So that's my favorite line out of this. What's yours?
I feel like that third one.
I could guarantee you all day long, but a guarantee is only as good as the man who writes it.
Yes.
That's a good line.
That's a good line.
Yeah.
Like, when you really think about it.
Yeah, that's a good line. But mine's the why say no. But all right. Favorite little moment. The thinking he was locked out of the school when the girl walks right by him. Yes. I wish we'd known each other. This is a little awkward when he hugs the guy after he gets his D+.
He passed.
That's a grade they don't like to hand out. They give a lot less D pluses than D minuses.
D minuses.
But so when he hugs that guy and he says, I wish we'd known each other, this is a little awkward. Or Richard's toupee.
I got a different one.
Go ahead.
When Tommy Boy is in his office and he's speaking into the fan.
Yeah.
La 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 la.
That's
and he says, Luke, I am your father, which they say is they think is the reason that Star Wars is misquoted so much. It's supposed to be, no, I am your father.
Ah.
And in this, he says, Luke, I am your father. And that's what people repeat all the time is that. And they think it's because of this movie that people misquote Star Wars all the time. And then he flips them off with a toy.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite.
Yeah, that is.
And
crazy.
as he's speaking in the fan, last night I told Jared, I was like, I used to do that all the time. But, you don't have fans around your house all the time now.
Right.
So, our kids don't know about speaking into fans and changing your voice.
Right. No, like I said, I had that later. Like, there's just so many good things in this movie. So, best Richard quote.
Oh, my goodness.
So, here's just a few. Like, I could only come up with a few here because I was trying to narrow them down. Okay, you have a window. Why wouldn't you? You've been here 10 minutes.
I was about to say that one.
I love that one. It's called reading. Top to bottom, left to right. Group the words together for a sentence. Take Tylenol for any headaches. Might offer any cramps. I know you'd love to sit there and keep being not slim, but we've got work to do today. I think that's probably my favorite. Or when Tommy's in his car, literally spraying whatever sauce into his mouth. Ugh, I can hear you getting fatter.
It's ketchup.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go different on you at the end right there. When he says, at the beginning, Tommy says, a lot of people go to college for 7 years. Yeah, They're called doctors.
So, okay, you can't pick that one. I have that one in another competition.
Oh, okay.
That's how many.
Did I hear a niner in there? Were you calling from a walkie-talkie?
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we'll go to that one. All right, my favorite is I know you'd love to sit there and keep not being slim. Like, I think just the way he says that one. Not that I don't love all the others. All right, best Tommy and Richard back and forth. A lot of people go to college for 7 years. I know, they're called doctors. Does this suit make me look fat?
No, your face does.
Your brain has a thick candy shell on it.
Your brain
Has the shell on it. Yeah. So out of I had to narrow it down to those three because there's so many good ones. I mean, that's not even counting oh, look, kids, it's Papa Smurf.
I think I'm going to have to go with does this make me look fat?
Yeah. That's the one. But the one that has stuck with me for years is a lot of people go to college for 7 years. and I think that's because like that was kind of the trajectory I was on. And that
the 7-year college.
I was actually on like the 12-year plan, and I was like, I don't know if I want to be in the same company as Tommy here. All right, let's see what's next. How about the best Tommy quote? Okay, so these are just kind of the short ones. Okay, Herbie Hancock, like
Yes.
John Hancock. It's Herbie
Hancock. Was that like? I've always known the Herbie Hancock, and honestly, that's what I think of anytime Hancock's written. But was Herbie Hancock a dealership?
I think a singer.
Oh, okay.
I think a singer, yeah. That's going to leave a mark,
Oh,
which
yes.
actually comes from Spaceballs. So it was a John Candy original quote.
And he loved John Candy.
Loved John Candy. It might have even been in Planes, Trains. I'd have to be fact checked on that, but I know it was in Spaceballs. Obviously, Holy Schnikes.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what came from this movie. That was like the most original thing that came from this movie. And it was an original Chris Farley quote because he would say that because his parents were strict, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like his way of
And
cussing.
Schnikes, especially like in the South, you can come up with a lot more, but he's from Wisconsin.
Yeah. Yeah. Brothers don't shake hands.
Brothers got a hug.
This one you have to lay a little context with it just to get the scene. But when he messes up Richard's car,
that's what I was going to say. You have to mention this. What'd you do?
I love that one. And then when he kind of convinces the waitress, Tommy want wingy. So what is your favorite Tommy quote out of all
The
those?
door at the gas station. What'd you do?
I think for me, it's the brothers don't
And
shake
it's his
hands.
face. Oh, yes, that is a good one.
But there's not, I mean, that's the thing. There's not a bad one on here. And that's going to leave a mark. Like when people say it, I would almost with certainty bet that people are saying it with Tommy Boy in mind and not Spaceballs.
Yeah.
All right. Now this is the hardest one. Favorite scene. Okay. And then we'll get to our Mount Rushmore. So favorite scene. The intro to Rob Lowe when he hits the glass door or hits the bus. That kid was the stutterer in Billy Madison.
He looked and I think he was in Dennis the Menace too.
I think so, yeah. But he was the one today, Junior. You know, when Sandler. But so the intro to Rob Lowe, the cow tipping, and hosing Tommy off the gas station. Like I just kind of included all of those in the same scene. You know, that's where we get the I'm a maniac.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where we get the first. Did you eat paint chips as a kid?
Yeah.
You know. And then the first maybe sales appointment. When the guy says maybe, and then it ends with him lighting the guy's model cars.
Oh my God, that is my you're going to make this so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, to give some reference to that scene, I mean, that's when he's talking about new guys.
You're driving along, and the kids, Daddy, I got to go to the bathroom. No.
And then, you know, the new guy's puking his guts out, you know, oh my God. You know, that guy, I mean, it's that whole scene. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That was close.
Yeah. Tearing up Richard's car at the gas station, which is also combined with a great Chris Farley scene. I mean, David Spade scene.
Well, Chris Farley too, because of all his physical comedy that happens there.
Yes, but David Spade's on the inside, throwing on as much sarcasm as he possibly can with that gas station attendant. Like,
I
it's not on
think
this
the
map.
sarcasm.
Yeah, it's not on this map, and you're obviously an intelligent guy, you know?
I sense the sarcasm.
Well,
I'd hope so because I'm laying it on pretty thick.
so there's that whole scene, which again is where we get him pushing the door back in the car. It's where we get the look, like his look when he looks back at the gas station is, and I'm talking about Chris Farr or Tommy Boy's. His just the look he gives is it's priceless. It's so funny. Um, Running over Bambi, and
Oh,
then
good old Bambi.
and then losing it at the guy's office, like the next appointment.
Oh, when he lifts his hair. Or
Yes. And Richard's trying to make the sale, and the guy tells him, I don't like you because you're a smug, unhappy little man and you treat people like they're idiots. Like, that whole scene is great. Which leads into the deer coming back to life
Yes.
and tearing up the car. Which, if you ever need reference of why this movie is just Planes, Trains, and Automobiles Part 2, that's one of your clear references. And then the radio, when they're looking at each other, and each picks a station, then they end up on the Carpenter song.
I'll change it if you want. No, I can deal with it if you can.
And then next thing you know, they're both just like crying their eyes out, singing together. And then the hood lifts up. They end up going everywhere on the road. And that's when you get the fight on the side of the
Did you
road.
just give a play-by-play?
Yes. I'm just trying to explain it. Like that's where we're at in the movie. Like that's why these scenes are so hard to pick. And in that same like time frame, you get the JoJo the Idiot Circus Boy. You know, when he's talking about his I get my pretty new pet. Oh, you're naughty. You're a naughty little pet. You know, that whole thing. And then you get the housekeeping scene. And then you get the airplane scene, which is Tommy.
I think that's when Evie died the most.
Yes. And he gets stuck in the bathroom. He gets stuck with a life vest or life jacket thing on him. Just the whole thing. So out of all those, what is your favorite scene from Tommy Boy?
You've made this so hard.
Not here to
I've
make
got
it
two.
easy.
Can I pick two?
Yes. There's
Okay.
a lot of scenes there.
I'm going to pick the one where his maybe sale.
Okay.
And he reenacts with the antique cars.
Yeah.
But the second one is the deer scene.
Yeah.
When the deer comes back to life.
Yeah.
And I actually have a present for you.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't know if you know this. And if you don't, or if you do, I don't know that you remember it. This situation happened to a friend of ours. The deer coming back to life.
Oh.
Our friend Wyatt.
I do remember
This happened to him.
Yes.
So last night, Wyatt was kind enough to send me an audio recording.
Oh, that's great.
Telling the story.
That is great.
Of this deer. So I've got it for you.
That is great. Let's hear it.
So when I was 16 years old, my sister and I were driving to go hang out with my then girlfriend, now wife, at my in-laws' house, and it was late at night. I believe it was early summer, but we were driving over to her house on a little back road. There's no street lights, nothing. Well, a deer runs out in the middle of the road, and I hit it with my truck. Well, luckily, we were only going probably 25 miles an hour or so, and my truck has a brush guard on it, so there was no damage to the truck or nothing like that. Well, I had the brilliant idea at 16 years old to, we'll just load this deer up in the back of my truck. So me and my sister fight and struggle to load this deer up in the back of my truck. Well, we get it in my truck, and I drive to my wife's house, and I go inside, and I'm telling her and her parents and her brother about it, and we're all standing there talking about it, and my brother-in-law is like, hey, I want to see it. Well, he walks to the window to go look out, and come to find out, he hollers and says the deer is standing up in the bed of my truck. So me and Levi run outside to, try and, I guess you'd say, detain the deer and just get it to lay back down in the bed of my truck because, we both thought it was dead. Well, once we get back out there to the truck, we run outside, and in the process of trying to get the deer to lay back down, the deer jumps out of the bed of my truck.
Oh, wow.
4.5, 5 foot, and just face plants on the concrete and just lays there. So now me and my brother-in-law are thinking, okay, this deer is definitely dead now. Now we can just load it back up into the bed of the truck again. Well, we, walk around to the other side of the truck to go get it and pick it up and put it back in the bed of the truck. Well, as soon as we round the corner, to where the deer's laying in the middle of the driveway on the concrete. The deer jumps up and just takes off running throughout the parking lot of this neighborhood. And we ran after it, and it ran off in the woods and never saw it again.
Thought you would appreciate
that is
that.
hilarious. That's good job.
Because as I'm watching the scene last night, now when I watch that scene, all I can think about is Wyatt
Sure.
loading this, and his sister, mind you, because if he's 16, that means she's only like 14, loading a supposed dead deer up in their car, because that would have never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
And then it coming back
It's a
to
dead
life.
carcass rotting in the car back there. Yeah. Wow. Good job, Wyatt. Good job. Good job. Wow. That is, so if you need to know, things like that can happen. So
Another
again,
PSA.
yeah. Yes.
Check to see if it's dead before you load it up in your car.
Our show is full of PSAs. I feel like people really should be listening just for health and safety standards. Wow. That's great. That's great. Gosh, my favorite scene, it has to be the lighting the model cars on fire. Like that's just one of the funniest things ever in any movie. And then, I mean, the housekeeping gets you, but I love the Carpenter song. And the next thing you know, they're singing together, and then the whole car is tearing apart because he didn't put the oil can up or whatever. Love it. Love it. And I could watch the movie tomorrow and have a different favorite scene. It's
Yes.
it's that funny. It's full of one-liners all the way through. And so hard to narrow. Like, this was one of the hardest movies for me to work on because, like, I even left out when he's selling to the guy about the guarantee, and the guy's like, "Oh, it makes you feel good." He's like, "Yeah, the guarantee fairy," and talking about how he turned out to be a crazy glue sniffer, like that whole thing. Building model airplane, says the little fairy. Well, we're not buying it. Like that whole thing. I love that. So, all right. Anything else we need to talk about Tommy Boy wise before we get to our Mount Rushmore for today?
I don't think so.
I think just, man, what a bummer that we didn't get like
More of Chris Farley.
because he was right in that same class of Mike Myers and
Yeah.
Adam Sandler and Rob Schneider.
He did. I told you he got like suspended essentially from SNL a few times. Like he had to take breaks because Lorne Michaels would make him do that. He did get fired at one point, but it wasn't like because of his problems. They had to do a budget cut.
Sure.
And it was at the same time as like Mike Myers and Dana Carvey and stuff. They chose to go. So like that was, easy.
Mhm.
Like they were like, well, we'll include that in the group. And before his death, he really tried hard to get back out on like, please just give me another chance to be on Saturday Night Live.
I didn't
Sometimes
know
he
that.
just needed that. And it wasn't because he needed it for the money. He needed it for the laughs because
Sure.
that's how he got his sense of gratification.
Yeah. Yeah. It would have been a great, I mean, obviously the life matters more than what we get as, from him as an entertainer. His life matters more than that. But from our perspective as, movie fans, it would have been, I think, a great, however many years, 30 more years of movie making that he would have done. And I think we would have gotten some really good performances. Like, I mean, we've seen guys like Jim Carrey,
I think he
Mike
would.
Myers develop into those actors with like dramatic
Yeah.
chops. I
Mhm.
think he would have developed into that guy that had some dramatic chops.
And I definitely think he would be part of the Adam Sandler crew.
Yes, because Spade never really like Sandler has a lot of movies where he, dipped into the drama stuff.
Yeah.
Spade never really has.
No.
I think Farley would have.
Yeah.
I think he would have gone that route. All right. So now we go to our Mount Rushmore, which unfortunately would almost be too easy to do Chris Farley because he just didn't have a huge library of work.
Mhm.
So we chose David Spade instead.
Gotcha.
Now, you go ahead with however you want to do it. You can give your 4.
I did 4.
Or you can give your honorable mentions. You can do whatever
No,
you want.
I did 4.
Okay.
But only 3 are movies and 1's a show. Does that count? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go with my show then.
Okay.
Rules of Engagement.
He was so funny on there. I had that in my honorable mentions.
He's on my Mount Rushmore for
yeah.
that.
I mean, that show was so good. I mean, it was Patrick Warburton was hilarious on there.
Yes.
And I can't remember the girl's name that was also on that show,
can't
Grounded
remember
for
either.
Life. But it was a great show, but he was my favorite part of that show. David Spade was the funniest one on that
Yes.
show. Yeah.
Emperor's New Groove.
Yep. I had that on my
I think
honorable.
I think you should do more voice work.
Yeah.
Joe Dirt.
That was on your honorable.
No, I don't have an honorable. That's on my Mount Rushmore.
That's right. I'm sorry.
This is my Mount Rushmore.
Go ahead.
So Emperor's New Groove on my Mount Rushmore. Joe Dirt, and obviously Tommy Boy.
Yeah. Can't be left off. So Engagement and Groove were on my honorable mentions. Benchwarmers was also on.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was also on my honorable mentions, just because it is a funny movie. It's silly. I could have definitely seen Chris Farley being in that movie.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of the Sandler movies and just that Happy Madison Productions where, you hate to put Kevin James down, but that would have been him in the Kevin James part in Grown Ups. That would have probably been him in Chuck and Larry.
I'm going to disagree with you on that.
I love Kevin
one.
James,
Yes.
so I'm not taking anything away from him.
I think Chris Farley is hilarious, one of the funniest people ever, but I don't know that Chuck and Larry would have. I think Kevin James was right for that part.
He was right for it. He was great for it. He was great for Grown Ups. I'm just saying, I think
and let me point this out. The reason that David Spade and Chris Farley worked is because David Spade was the serious and the sarcasm. Chris Farley was the physical, laugh at me comedy part of the duo. Adam Sandler is always the comedy part of the duo. Yeah. Somebody has to be the serious, and Kevin James was that serious for him. I don't think that Chris Farley could have been the serious part for Adam Sandler's
you may be right.
Duo.
Yeah. So like I said, my honorables: Engagement, Groove, Benchwarmers, but then obviously Joe Dirt.
Yeah.
When you're talking David Spade, you can't start a Mount Rushmore without Joe Dirt. That is his movie.
Yes.
And that is, as far as the ones he starred in and that he carried, it was much better than Dickie Roberts.
Yes.
Tommy Boy would be on the list. Black Sheep for me would be on the list.
Okay.
I think he had some of the funniest parts in that. I actually thought he was not funnier than.
Maybe we should watch that tonight.
No. And then Grown Ups. I really like him in Grown Ups. I think he's really funny in Grown Ups.
Yeah.
And especially Sandler messing with him in Grown Ups and stuff, and I love the way they mess with Schneider and that, Maze, but that movie was the first one. The second one was awful. The second Grown Ups, do not waste your time on. And I think they're making a third one. So hopefully they can recover.
Could you imagine Chris Farley and Rob Schneider in a movie together?
They would have been good together.
So good.
Yeah, they would have been good together. Well, perfect. Any other Tommy Boy thoughts that we have left on the cutting room floor that we need to discuss?
I think we got it handled.
Perfect. Well, like we said at the top, if at first you don't succeed, just lower your standards.
Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to bump us up in the algorithms. You can send my dad any suggestions of movies you'd like for him to cover at themoviepick@aol.com. Thank you for listening.